iron in their soul.
What's up, YouTube? This is Iron and Soul. Back today with another very important message. Please subscribe to my channel, like this video, share this video, leave a comment, let me know what you think about my content. In addition to that, please feel free to follow me over on Instagram at TheKingJabez. It will be greatly appreciated. In this video, I want to give you 14 things to look out for when working with women. Now, it's going to be a lot to process, and this is something that, first of all, I learned by experience over the course of close to 10 years while working in Chicago. And this was back close to 3 years ago now at this point. So this is a reflection, observation. And so you guys today in this video will get a chance to glean from a close to 10-year experience I had working downtown Chicago, as well as in various churches, and having the opportunity to bump shoulders with a lot of people. This has been my observation. Also, these 14 traits are not something you will notice in one person. Very few people will pull all 14 of these off. So it's kind of a summary of what you can look out for with various women in the workforce. And so you might have a woman who may do 2 or 3 of these, and another woman may do 1. And so very rarely when you see someone do all this, probably never. And so this is not a reference to one person. This is an overall assessment of various women you will run into in your career as a man in the workforce. And so I trust with that perspective, you can get something from this. We're going to get right to work. I'm not going to waste any of your time. I got to get this all in within 30, 40 minutes. Let's get right to it. And this is not in order of importance. I'm just talking to you. Number 1, challenge you and try to overtalk you. This is a tactic of a woman who's trying to gain status or influence at work. She's trying to apply a superior intelligence over you that she may not have. And it puts you in a very difficult position as a man because, for one, when you go toe-to-toe with her, you look bad. Right? And you can be very easily vilified as the guy who's trying to intimidate and bully women, right? And so once a woman begins to do that, you have to play chess. You have to use some wisdom, some common sense, remain calm, and just with wisdom and intelligence and smarts, articulate your thoughts. That's the best way to overcome that. You never want to go back and forth. You never want to get emotional. Once she begins to get loud, overtalk you, your strength as a man is your stability. Remain calm, remain poised, and clearly articulate your thoughts. That takes care of that right there. That's it. No emotion. We're not going back and forth. It's none of that. Intelligence, poise, being relaxed, articulating your words calmly as I am in this talk. That's how you overcome that tactic. So when they try to challenge you and overtalk you, that's a tactic to get you to respond in a defensive way. In other words, she's trying to put you on defense. And once a woman puts you on defense and you respond that way, you can always look bad as a man. And so the best way is to always remain calm. If she asks you the same question 30 times a day, answer it the same way. Remain calm. A man once told me this, and he was trying to give me some wisdom by saying this. He's trying to give me some game. If someone asks you what time is 10 o'clock class, tell them 10 o'clock. Right? In other words, sometimes people ask you a question that may appear to be a dumb question to you, but the way to answer that in a working environment is to remain calm and answer questions, and that always makes you look good as a man going forward. Number 2, don't want to respect you. Now, if you are a man that doesn't carry yourself in a way that deserves respect, if you're not, on time, working hard, being professional, showing some character, showing some personality, that's one thing. Then in that case, you bring the disrespect upon yourself by the way you carry yourself. So we got to give that disclaimer first. If you're carrying yourself in a dishonorable way, then you bring the dishonor upon yourself off top. However, this is referring to you when you're not doing it, when you're clearly being professional, being polite, doing your job, showing that you are capable and competent, you're being responsible. And when you're doing all of those things and she refuses to respect you, that again is designed to bring anger in you, so to get you, because a lot of things in society, you think about society as a whole, society has a lot of traps on the board for a man, and it's designed in many ways for you to respond in aggression and violence and anger. That's what they want you to do, because now it's just you're the crazy man, right? So you have to respond to this dishonor the exact opposite of how they want you to. Right? So when you notice that's happening to you for no reason at all, when you're being disrespected, when you do everything right, that's when you calmly remove yourself, because now we're playing games now. This is now a matter of manipulation. psychological tactics. And so you have to remain in character. When this happens, respect yourself by creating distance, keeping conversations short. And people pretty quickly catch on to that and they realize, okay, they can't come at you any kind of way. And so a lot of times just creating some space between people and just doing your job can remove that unnecessary dishonor. So when you find yourself being disrespected for no reason at all, that's a tactic. It's nothing to do with you. Don't question your intelligence. Don't question your ability or who you are. See it for what it is and govern yourself accordingly. Number 3, try to get loud and humiliate you. This can be either through a joke. It could be through a subtle challenge, and this is a lot of times it's that passive aggressive stuff. It's they're not gonna get loud and challenge you to a fight because that would just be ridiculous, right? So nothing like that, but just trying to subtly challenge your authority as a man to see where you're at, to test your masculinity. And so when you see yourself in this situation, when they're trying to get loud and humiliate you, once again, a lot of these answers are the same response, same answer. Remaining calmly stating what you will or will not tolerate. That's how you do that. So when you see this type of environment recreated, and of course, there's nothing wrong with joking around. There's a time when you're joking and horse playing at work, office bantering. That's totally fine. And I suggest that because that helps you to build good rapport with people. So you want to get to a place where you can joke with your coworkers and there's a good rapport. You want to have a good rapport with people where they feel comfortable around you. You don't want folks to be intimidated. You want folks to respect you, but you don't want people to be intimidated where they feel like they can't talk to you and work with you. That's not a really good place to be. So there is a distinction between office bantering, having a good time, kind of just chopping up and kicking it. That's fine, versus trying to disrespect and humiliate. And so whenever that happens, at that point, you have to draw the line as a man. And that line can be drawn by a simple, firm conversation. You don't have to get loud, but you can just simply state how you didn't like something and what you appreciate, what you expect. And that can be the end of that situation just like that. And so setting some boundaries and once again, calmly stating your perspective on a certain situation. Number 4, playing victim once you shut them down. And so if a woman is playing games and you confront her on that, she will go right, and some of them will go right into victimhood. They'll start crying, right? You have some of that. I had to happen to me a few times when I was downtown. They'll start crying. Now they're afraid of you and they're intimidated. You weren't intimidated with all the disrespect. You weren't intimidated with all that shade. And once I stepped to you like a man in private and said, this is what it is, now you're intimidated. And a lot of times, a coward, by the way, is always intimidated when it's just you and them. Cowards like a crowd. They like to have people around so they feel safe, whether they be other men, other women. They feel safe in numbers, right? Whereas a person who is really confident can approach an individual one-on-one. And it has been my experience with women and with men. When I approach them individually, when there's no crowd, there's no one besides me and them, I have seen a lot of quote-unquote tough guys, tough girls fold like a quilt. They fold up. So a coward can't handle a quiet conversation in private where there's no crowd, no entertainment. It's just me and you. And I'm telling you like a man, calmly yet firmly, what time it is. And a lot of people can't deal with that. And so they will play victim once you come to them privately, as you're supposed to, by the way. And this is what the Bible teaches. If your brother offends you, if your sister offends you, you go to them one-on-one. So when you come with that biblical standard, people fall apart. Why? Because people who are demonic need people. They want to basically drum up support and have everyone against you, right? To paint a picture, to paint you to look a certain way. But when you remove that barrier by confronting them one-on-one, they will often respond in tears, victimhood, and it's another form of manipulation, which is really just another form of witchcraft. Number 5, being used as a pawn by men in power at a job. And so there are times when a man in position of power will use multiple women to create this buffer between you and him. He understands the nature of men and women in a working environment, and so he will often use a woman there kind of as a shield to a degree because he may be intimidated by your capability and by your strength. When a man sees another strong man in a work environment, if he's not secure enough, if he's kind of insecure, he's going to feel threatened. And so in order to remove that threat, he's going to try to create a buffer between you and him. And he will often use multiple women to do this. And so when you discern that, you have to be wise and to carry yourself accordingly. And a lot of this can be avoided by simply doing your job. Be careful with women at work. You don't want to let anything be used as a form of messing up your income and the way you are providing for your family. Number 6, this next one can be referred to as shadowing. In other words, women will often try to follow you. She sees that you're a capable and competent man. You earn respect. People like you. She'll try to shadow you. She'll try to duplicate what you're doing. And so she'll watch you and try to do it the exact same way, not realizing that it doesn't work that way. Your character and your strength can't be duplicated. But they will try to shadow you, kind of like what happened with Moses in Egypt, right? When Moses came to the promised land, before the promised land, when he came to Egypt, before the promised land, and he's performing these miracles, what happened? The magicians and people in Egypt tried to duplicate Moses' work. And so that's often a tactic of demonic activity, is to try to duplicate or to copy the righteous version, right? And a lot of times, demonic people, weak people, they're copycats. They don't have their own original thoughts. They can't really create for themselves. So they have to watch you and try to piggyback off of your talent, your thoughts, and your skills. And so often what will happen is with these women, they will come around you with the shadowing tactic, and the agenda is to try to learn everything they can from you and try to move you out the way as if you're not the one to taught them that. Right? I done seen all this stuff over years, man. So that shadowing piece is something you gotta look out for if you are a capable man. If you are capable, you are well-liked and talented, people will try to shadow you, not for the purpose of support, but for the purpose of duplicating. And this kind of happens even on YouTube too, by the way. People will watch your YouTube videos, try to duplicate them, take similar knowledge and information, reword it a little bit. There's a lot of copycat activity whenever you get into workforce. Whenever you got people and work and money involved, there's somebody there being a copycat. And so the shadowing tactic is something you must look out for. Number 7 is kind of hard to articulate, so I guess I'll call this one just this weird combination of being rude yet fragile, right? Rude yet fragile. And so you have a woman who's sarcastic and rude, jealous and insecure towards you, and she will mask that insecurity and jealousy with shade, sarcasm, being rude, ignoring you, not speaking. That's another tactic. She'll use all these tactics, like such as ignoring you, being rude, sarcasm, and once again, if you step to her, she folds like a quilt because she's really fragile. And so she's using all this as a shield, as a mask, right? She's hiding her true intention. So as opposed to saying, hey, I'm jealous, I'm insecure, I'm fragile, she's not going to say that. She's going to come at you with sarcasm, with shade, being rude, trying to undermine, trying to see if she can get under your skin, right? There are women whose whole objective is to get under your skin. That's her goal for the day. The women get a kick out of getting under the skin of a strong man, right? So when you see the energy, smile it off, smirk, see it for what it is, and as the old saying goes, let her fall off your back like water off a duck's back. See that for what it is and deal with that unique combination of being fragile yet rude, coming across as weak yet trying to present yourself as strong. And so when you see that 1-2 punch, discern it for what it is and govern yourself accordingly. In other words, never take the sarcasm, rudeness, and jealousy and all that stuff personal. See it for what it is. It's a mask to hide underneath that nature of being fragile. Number 8, they will obsess over your family. When a woman realizes you have a wife and some children, that gives a message that you're a stable man, that you are a trusted man. And so there are women out there who want to break your family up. So be careful talking about your family at work. People don't need to know your business. Be careful showing pictures of your kids. Be careful definitely showing pictures of your wife, especially if you look better than them. Okay? Keep your personal life at home. Share your personal life with those who you trust. If there is any doubt, never bring it up. People don't need to know how many kids you got. They don't need to know about your wife unless y'all build that type of rapport. Because I'll tell you something, that same simple conversation, I saw this in the news recently, maybe a few years ago. There was a man who got accused of sexual harassment just by simply sharing a picture of his children with a lady at work. And so you never know what type of time some women are on. They be on some weird time. And so this is not to make you paranoid, but you got to be careful. You got to protect your wife and your family and your kids. You got to protect your family. And so sometimes protecting your family is by keeping them out of it. Be careful sharing too much information and keep that to yourself. There are some women at work, who have an assignment to break up homes. And this is not every woman, of course, but some women are on that time, especially if they don't have a man, they don't have a family, and they want that, they'll be jealous of what you got. And so keep your mouth shut. Don't tell people about your business. Number 9 kind of goes right with that. Will try to break your family up, right? They will try to break up your family through gossiping, through slander, trying to come on to you sexually, and then when you reject their advances, they allow you. This is exactly what Joseph went through in the Bible. When Joseph rejected the advances of Potiphar's wife, a man he was working for, right? Because the Bible says Joseph was a young man, he was handsome, he was in shape, he was muscular. So you had this muscular young Hebrew man, and you had Potiphar's wife who wanted Joseph. Joseph was not on that type of time. So what did she do? She lied about that. And her lies got Joseph thrown in prison, got him fired, right? He spent 2 years in jail because of the lies of a woman. Are you understanding me? And so when you have a family, do everything necessary to protect your family at all costs. Understand that lies can get you in trouble in the workforce. Number 10, she will manifest these 3 objectives of witchcraft: intimidation, domination, and manipulation. That's how you know you're dealing with witchcraft. They try to gain power and access and authority through intimidation, through domination, or through manipulation. And I think about these points so far, we talked about a lot of manipulation, game plan, right? A lot of intimidation and domination. And so you overcome those 3 forms of witchcraft by using wisdom, right? You don't do the same thing back. You don't need to intimidate, dominate, manipulate. What you need to do is to be strong, to be wise, to be assertive, to be confident, to have character, to be the real thing. Because this is an example of what you shouldn't do. This is what you do when you don't have it. When you got it, right, you ain't got to do all this. When you really that man, that woman, you don't do this type of stuff. Your skills, your gifts, your ability speaks for itself. But when you lack that, you have to overcompensate through these demonic tactics of intimidation, domination, manipulation, which is the signs of witchcraft and mind control. Number 11, slander and gossip. This is a big one. Slander and gossip is the exact opposite of celebration. So when you are someone who deserves praise, wow, man, you're doing a good job. You are a solid worker. You're here on time. You work hard. You help people out. As opposed to celebrate you, they will slander you. They will gossip. They will lie. So gossip and slander can be used to undermine your credibility within a work environment. They will try to compare you to other men that they approve of. They'll do all this game plan with the objective of bringing you down. And that's point number 12. The ultimate goal in all of this, number 12, is to bring you down, right? If you are seen in an elevated position, if you have a position there, let's say you're the boss, you're the manager, you're a man in authority, or you're close to being in authority. You're respected by your coworkers. You're liked in an environment, whether it be a business or a company, wherever you work for, right? When there are people who see that and they have a goal to bring you down. So this information I'm giving you guys, this is not for you to be paranoid. I'm trying to give you some wisdom in 30 minutes, right? This may be, I don't know how long it's going to be, maybe 30, 40 minutes. I'm giving you something in 30, 40 minutes, guys, that I learned over the course of about 10 years, okay? So I'm giving you a 10-year experience in about a half an hour. This is what I know. And like I said before, this is not one woman. This is multiple women that I dealt with over the years. And I wrote these thoughts down to give you some perspective. And I think this solid talk should at least put you on your toes, okay? Well, you're not going to work living in la-la land. You can't be in la-la land. Men in la-la land get fired, get demoted, get humiliated, right? You got to wake up and realize this is a war. The workforce is a battle to a degree. You have to go into the battle with the proper information. Number 13, minimize your success and don't want to equate anything good with you. If you find a woman who has a hard time saying anything good about you, when it's obvious a lot of things good they can say about you, that is a sign that she's trying to bring you down. If you have someone who just refuses to say anything good about you and is always negative, condescending, bringing you down, talking about you, trying to paint you in this bad light, that's a clear sign of jealousy. That's a clear sign of intimidation. That's a clear sign of demonic witchcraft. And this goes right to number 14. They have no respect for strong men. Bottom line, if you present yourself as a solid man, as a strong man, a capable man, there are some women who will want to challenge that right off top because of your ability, because of the respect you're earning. And it's all designed to demote or to make you the tail versus the head. God says in his word in Deuteronomy 28, we are called to be the head and not the tail. Head refers to the leader, authority, power, prestige, success, status. This is what we all want and deserve and desire as men in this modern world. So guys, it's just a brief assessment, okay? This will be about 20-30 minute long video. I trust this will give you some food for thought. If you have any questions, let me know. If you want to discuss some of this in detail, please go to my website and book a consultation where we can talk about this stuff. Because guys, this type of stuff needs to be talked about in detail. This is just a brief assessment, just so you know that. This is an assessment for about a half an hour, but clearly you can discern from this talk that this has multiple layers, right? And for multiple layers, it can be discussed in a further conversation. If you want to book a consultation, we can go into detail and give you some more specific solutions to this problem. This is your brother, Iron and Soul. Thanks for listening. God bless. Peace.